So I got a great question from a listener named Zara, and she asked me basically like, how do we choose our chart? Or can you say more about that? So, that is something that I say quite a bit. It's critical to understand that the chart that you have is something that you selected with intent. And that's critical because if unless you believe that, unless you kind of act that way, you can never figure out, the deeper meaning behind the chart that you have. If you just take it as, this is what it is, and oh, bummer, I got this and that. Good thing I have this, then you're kind of a victim. And so we, basically spiritual folks or magicians and such are people who want to take more of a dynamic role with regard to our astrology chart. So it's important to understand that it's not a coincidence. It's not just a random event that you have the chart that you do. So I'll tell a story. Of course, it's a story because before you were incarnated, you were out of time and nothing happened. So there's no real literal story to tell. It's a mythic story. But the Greeks have a myth that a warrior named who was on the battlefield accidentally or intentionally went to the other side while he was alive and got to witness what happens, and then he was able to come back and tell the world what it is. So essentially what he saw was that when the dead are basically getting ready to reincarnate, they have a selection of lots or lives, fates, presented to them by one of the fates. There are three fates. And then they can select from among those choices one that really will help them to manifest something that they either need to develop in themselves or something they want to contribute to humanity. So they pick through them, they select one, then another fate gives them also a helper that is going to go down with them. It's called a daemon. It's kind of like a helper spirit that will know or remember their selection and specifically why they selected it. And then after that, the third fate cuts the cord. They descend into incarnation, and then they have to cross the river of forgetfulness or Letha, which is why they have the helper spirit, because otherwise they come into existence and it's kind of like, what am I doing here? So we have this daemon who's essentially a link or a messenger between our angelic self, who is just eternally, there, and then of course, our incarnational self, who is in time and can forget and also has the burden of actually manifesting the intent. So the link is that helper spirit that flies back and forth, essentially taking our prayers upward and taking guidance downward so that we can fulfill it. So, great question. This is so important to understand that your chart is something that you selected. You have a specific mission that only you can fulfill. And, to me, there's nothing more exciting than actually kind of refining your individuality and bringing to bear on planet Earth that which only you have.